Hello and welcome back to TrainingRite.com video presentation on Selenium IDE. This is the second video in that series, and in the first video we did talk about recording an application and playing and then running it, and while doing that I had shown you some details about how we could identify an object on the browser. And we did discuss about the possibility of looking at some of the tools, and that will help you to find out the properties of an object. So let's go and take a look at those tools. Let's go to Google and look at the first tool. It is called FIREBUG. So when I type FIREBUG, it brings me to this site, and I could download FIREBUG. So when you go to that site, notice that this is what FIREBUG is. It's a plugin which goes and sits on top of Firefox browser. So when you click on that, install FIREBUG, it takes about like 3 seconds, and then it goes and it gets installed. And what you will see is right here, I have already installed that. So you see something called FIREBUG here, right? So that menu item. And also on your browser, you're going to see this, right? So that's the shortcut to using FIREBUG. Okay, so FIREBUG is a utility. It's an add-on which helps you to identify objects, properties on a browser, on a Firefox browser. Along with FIREBUG, there's another interesting tool out there called FIREPATH, right? And this again is an add-on to Firefox. So with FIREPATH, what it does is it not only helps you identify the object properties, but it helps you with something called an XPath. So when you download this, again, it is an add-on. So when you download it, it is going to give you this tool which will help you to identify objects XPath. So you do download that, and then when you restart your browser, you will have that tool installed on the browser. And how do you find that? If I go tools, if I go FIREBUG, and if I open FIREBUG, the FIREPATH sits on top of the FIREBUG. So when I open FIREBUG, you will see the FIREPATH. So if I do that, in the bottom you have a window open up, and you see FIREPATH here, right? FIREPATH. So I will just minimize this for now, and I will go to my application, and I will show you, I will give you a demo of how to use that FIREPATH and FIREBUG and FIREPATH. All right, so let's go to our application. Okay, here is my application, and in this application, if you recall the tool which is Selenium, right, which we used in the Selenium IDE, which we used in the previous demo, I had recorded. I'm going to open that script which we had recorded, and that was my this script. All right. Now, if you look into this, you will notice that the values which we got here, the first line, if we go and take a look at the first line, this is going to open the browser. The second line is type ID equals zip. Now, how did it figure out that this ID is equal to zip? How did Selenium IDE figured that out, right? And I told that the IDE has got the mechanism of going behind the scenes on any application and then read the attributes or the properties of any object. So it read the property of this object, it read the property of that object, and then it put it in the target, right? Likewise, when we go to the next page, it read the property of that census county. Remember that we entered the county, and then we entered the a date, and gender, month. So it found out these properties. So let us find out if we have to find those properties out, how we're going to be doing that. Again, for that, we'll make use of our friend here, which is the Firebug. So I'm going to click on Firebug. When you click on Firebug, in the bottom, what you have here is a way to go and then look into the properties of any object. So now that we have this window, we have the tools available to us, and the tools which are available to us is this this little thing in here which says that this is an element in the page to inspect. So it'll, when you click on an element on the page to inspect, it gives you the details of that. So I'm going to click on that first, and I will go here, and then I can go and click on anything in here, right? So what particular element or object I am interested in? I'm interested in this one, right? So I come here. Notice the blue border around that. That means that we are looking into that. So if I click on it, it is going to highlight this line, and it is giving me certain things of it. Now let's take a look into what it is giving me. And if you notice here, it is telling me input ID equals zip. So that's what it had taken. That's what was taken here. Input ID equals zip. Right? Now, let's say if I need to discuss about this, right? Click and wait. So where did it click? We clicked on that, right? So let's find out the properties of that. Now, once I have already clicked on this one, if I have to find out the properties of that, then I have to go and then grab this again. I grabbed it. I come here and I click on that. When I click on that, it is giving me some details, right? So if you expand these things, then you will get to know what details it has given. And if you look into it, it says input class equals btn go hyphen btn, and that's what it took here. Input btn go hyphen btn, right? Now, the best way to put in the target is not necessarily CS or name or ID. These are the attributes. Like if you have to find out more about me, me as a human object, how would you find more about me? If you know some of the properties of me, I don't have only one property, which is my name. I have some other properties. How would people identify me? If government needs to identify me, they are more interested in identifying me by my social security number. So that is one of the attributes or properties of me. Another property of me is, let's say if I am standing in a group of like 5 people, and then nobody remembers my name. That happens, right? I mean, if you go out to a party and if you have a lot of people there, they don't remember your name. But if they have to point out at me at that instant, they can say that, oh, the guy who is 6'2" tall, and then okay, people are going to look at me and then identify me. So that height is an attribute, right? So likewise, the class here is an attribute to identify that object, and you could identify an object by the title, but then you do not want to use a property which is kind of like common, right? There's a chance that there could be 2 people with 6'2" height, right? Then now there is a confusion. So you try to use as unique property as you can. So what is the unique property? What is the best way to put here? The unique property is what is called the XPath property. So that's why we have to use what is called the FIREPATH. And in the FIREPATH, it gives you whatever comes out here, that is your XPath. XPath is nothing but it's the unique way of identifying an object on a page. Okay, I want you to hear me out again. XPath is nothing but it's a unique way of identifying an object or an element on a page. So it uniquely identifies that. How does it uniquely identify? So if I let's say if I want to find out about this object, right? The way I'm going to find out about that object is, okay, I'm going to go here and I will navigate to that, and then I click on that. As soon as I do that, okay, it highlights this line, but we are no longer interested in finding out by ID equals insurance type, right? And name equals insurance type. What I want to do is I want to use the XPath. So I should come and then take the value from here, right? I should come and take the value from here. And if you see, the way you can put XPath is it starts with a period or a dot followed by two forward slashes and an asterisk and then whatever, right? So that's how consistent it is all the time, that it starts with a period, two forward slashes and an asterisk. In the course, I'm going to explain you everything. What is the purpose of that asterisk? Can we replace that asterisk and put something else? For now, it is enough that you use these tools. The tools are FIREBUG and FIREPATH. I gave you the details of both the tools. You need not need FIREPATH all the time. But guess what? I always use FIREPATH because, again, coming back to the example of if you have to identify an object and then you do not know the unique property of that. So XPath is the unique property. So there could be two people of the same height. There could be two people of the same name. Sometimes it happens. I mean, how many have you ever found yourself in a situation where there are two people with the same name? Probably not the first and the last, but at least, I mean, who calls you by your first and last name? Everybody calls you by your first name, right? So likewise, there is a possibility that in a party you have two people with the same first name. So when somebody calls that name, both of you respond. Likewise, there's a possibility that on a web page you will have an object, right? And if you're using one of the properties of that object, that property could be also be applying to some other object as well. So we should go and use the unique property. Again, that unique property is the XPath property. And if you are intending to use XPath property all along, then you need to use FIREPATH. And that's what I have done in here. I've shown you how to download both of them, and we have looked into this. Before ending this video, what I am going to do is I'm going to use one of these properties, which is the XPath property, and replace this here and see if the code still works. All right. So I'm going to do with the first one. So I need to go and find out the XPath for this one, the zip, the XPath for that. So how do I do that? I come here. I click on this click an element in the page to inspect. I do that, and I bring my mouse onto this box, right, and click on that, and here is my XPath. So I'm going to take this XPath. I have to take everything except the period, right, except the dot. I take everything, I copy it, Control C, and I have to come here and then I have to replace here. Now what am I replacing? I'm replacing the target attribute, right, the target, right? So here is my target. So I'm going to replace that with my XPath. I did replace that with the XPath, and I will try to run the code again and see how it behaves. All right. So I'm gonna just minimize this this thing, right? Notice there is nothing here in the zip code. So if my script gets identified, if the object gets identified, it has to put 60502. Now to see if the object gets identified or not, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on that. The resolution of my computer is because right now I'm recording, so it might be too difficult for you to see that. When you click on find, it is trying to find that object, and it does it so fast that it's not even fun. So but it is doing that. If you pay attention to the fact, it is doing that. So that's one way of finding out if look here, see that yellow thing, too fast, I know, but you see that yellow thing? That means that we are here and it is identifying that. So if I go here and click on that, and a light yellow background around it, if you could see that, Anyway, so that's how you identify. But I don't care about identifying. I care about running my script. So let's run my script and see if everything is working good or not. Because what I have done here is I replaced the XPath in here. I took out the ID property and I put the XPath property in here with those two forward slashes and an asterisk. And let's see if my code runs. Now, if I let's bring it back here. Okay, so that you can see. And if I want to do it slow. I want to do it slow. So here is my slowest. And if I do this, notice that it is going to put, there it is in the zip code 60502. Now it is entering, it selected the cane, now it is putting the date of birth, and now it will click the button and it went there, and then it is going to give me the details. Okay. Now, if you see, the application might have changed, because if you see, we currently do not offer individual and family health insurance in your zip code, right? So the application might have changed. So let's see by typing a different zip code here and see if it takes that. So I come in here and I type, rather than putting 60502, I'm going to do, let's say, a different zip code, 10018. We will have an issue. Let's say if I do that, if I put 10018, now it is going to go and then put that in that zip code. It'll click on that, but then it'll look for this county, if the county would come up, because last time we noticed that when you put in the zip code, if that zip code falls into two counties, then this box will come up. Otherwise, that box will not come up. Of course, in 10018, either probably there is no county, meaning that it doesn't fall into two counties. So this might not come up at all. And even if it comes up, there is definitely not going to be this value, because that value belongs to the previous one. So how do we handle situations like that? Now let's do it. Let's take a look and see what happens, and then we will later on see how to fix that. So I'm going to run this, and here we go. It put 10018. Now it is coming, and now there is an error right there. There is an error, and if you see, the script failed here, and the script failed, and then you have this red, and then it says that specified element is not a select and has no options. Of course, right now we don't have that, because in the previous one we had. Right now we don't have that, right? So there is a possibility that when you record something, right, the scripts, what you record, but when you try to run with a different zip code or a different data value, the application might behave differently. So how do we handle issues like that? Well, that's what we will be covering in our next video. For now, this video, we have covered the tools. I showed you how to download FIREBUG and FIREPATH. I gave you the reasons why we have to have those two tools, because those tools help you to go and then find the attributes or the properties or the characteristics of the objects in question. All right. So, and then while doing that, we did go in and then change one of the attributes, which is the XPath, and we ran, and then it did find that object. It found that object. Now we tried with a different zip code, and then we are into this situation. And in my next video, I'm going to show you how to resolve that. Until then, if you're already a student, I want you to keep practicing. If you're not a student, you should. We invite you to go and then look into TrainingRite.com. And on our side, we have many courses which might generate interest. And if you want to watch some free videos on QTP, you could go into Watch and Learn, and then you could drop down and then click on that. And then there are many free videos which you could watch. I also have some of my videos uploaded onto youtube.com. So either you could watch it there or you could watch here. This, for instance, tells you what is automation testing, learn how to build a data-driven framework in QTP. Likewise, I got tons of videos here which will teach you things. And if QTP is not of your interest, if you need to look into Selenium, I have some free videos for Selenium as well. All right. If you like what you see here, if you need to register for a future course, either write to us at sales@trainingrite.com or call us at 732-998-6650. I will be happy to see you back in another video. So until then, keep practicing.